Hey guys, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. In a few minutes, we're going to cut over to our interview. Actually, Mike had a chance to catch up with the Players Champ, Cameron Smith.
So cool.
So cool to get to talk to him. I mean, he's such a great dude, such a humble guy. I mean, it's incredible for him to be so humble. I mean, he just walked away winning more in one event than Lee Trevino won his entire career.
That's wild. And I will tell you guys when we get to it, the backstory of the craziness of the day on getting the phone call and how it all came together. So
yeah, that is one exciting call when you say, hey guys, I got you some time with Cameron Smith. And you're like, yeah, let's go.
Here we are.
So we're excited to get to that. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But first, one thing I want to talk about, thing that's kind of hot on everyone's minds right now, with the Masters only 2 weeks away, we've got two big names that just keep surfacing. One is Tiger Woods, because we have not yet seen a commitment. And it makes us wonder, are we going to see Tiger at the Masters this year? But two, the question mark has just last night been removed around Phil Mickelson. And unfortunately, it's that he will not be at the Masters this year. Would you believe this, Mike? It's the first time that we're seeing a Masters without Phil since 1991.
Incredible. I was shocked by it. I really thought this was going to be the spotlight for him to step back into. It kind of makes me think, is this it? Is he going to just fold up the tents for the year?
It really does make me wonder. And I wonder what you guys think too. So make sure you drop them in the comments and let us know your thoughts on Phil being absent and sitting this one out. We have not, as of recording this video, we have not heard a lot directly from Phil or Phil's camp as far as reasoning. I think it just falls back on what he had said not too long ago, that he was just kind of going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus after everything that went down. But I mentioned this on his episode or two ago. I said, I think the best time for him to return would have been the Masters, because he's not going to be subject to any heckling from the fans. Usually the Masters, they wouldn't allow that type of stuff. So it can be kind of a lower pressure event. But I think pressure wise, I think the longer that Phil is out, the more pressure it's going to be on his return.
Oh, no doubt. I think it's just going to create more pressure. And I'm sure he wants to get back, but it's probably a conversation in his camp of when the right time should be. It's almost like we talked about Justin Thomas not re-signing an apparel deal for a year after his incident.
Yeah.
It's like you take a step away, recoup, maybe in 23 we come back and we let some things go by.
Look, I said this before. I'm all for taking a step away. I'm all for, of course, doing what would be considered like a real apology, because some people did debate it, and I'm not going to say they're wrong, that Phil's apology was not so much an apology as much as it was a little bit of a defense and explanation. I don't know. Everyone has their own take on that. We're just kind of how you read what he wrote. But my thinking is, sure, he's taking a little bit of time out of the spotlight, but I think the longer he's out of the spotlight, the more it puts that pressure on when he does eventually come back. It becomes a bigger and bigger event. We talk about these news cycles are not very long. It's like, let it blow over for a few weeks and then just as quickly as you can kind of try to get back to normal. But who knows what's going on behind the scenes, because there was a lot of players who were upset with him. It might not even be the fans. He might be not wanting to face his peers right now, maybe embarrassed by the way he approached the whole thing. But then we had even Greg Norman, though, recently saying that, he didn't particularly care for the way that Phil approached it, but he said Phil is still welcome to join on that. I
think they're just hurting for people at this point.
Yeah, I think so. What's your thoughts on this with the Saudi League now? Now that we've got the announcement, we've heard about the events, but one announcement that we didn't get, that we were promised, was they said around the time of the Players, they were going to announce the players who had committed.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten that.
We haven't gotten that, and I think it's because they had a lot of last minute dropouts. I think when they saw the heat that came down on Phil, I think a lot of people who were thinking about joining all left.
I think so, and I think we're going to see a lot more Corn Ferry names lean that way. Corn Ferry Tour is a place where a lot of guys try to make it, and some don't, unfortunately, and they struggle with money on these mini tours, and it might be a nice carrot that's dangling in front of them. We might see some Corn Ferry guys. Not sure if that's really the firepower Norman wants.
Yeah,
I'm sure he had a long list, and a lot of people did bail, but I still think don't rule out Phil going there. Don't rule it out.
I wouldn't rule it out either. But I think I'm trying to think now, what would be the main draws for us as fans to watch, what would be the draw to bring us in? It would be, first of all, I know that the players.
The players,
who's
yes.
playing, and then the shock value of the money. I think those are the two things that they were relying on for us to tune in.
Let's back up a sec. You say the players. What if they were guys that we really didn't know, but it was just a cool new feature, format, team play, lots of money at stake?
Well, the rumblings that I've been seeing just from reading the comments on a lot of this stuff on social media is that it seems like there's less and less interest. And I think if these things end up being what would be kind of like what we're used to seeing on the PGA Tour when you have those alternate schedule, events.
Right.
Where they come right up against the PGA Tour event of the week. Makes you wonder, what's the coverage going to be? What broadcast is it going to be on? I feel like if there was no other PGA Tour event on a given week, then people would watch this more. But I'm thinking, if I'm myself and it's a Sunday, right, and I'm watching golf, I'm going to watch the names I know.
But you're not watching it until the afternoon, right? I don't think it's even on TV. We get a lot of Asian and European tour events and LPGA in the morning.
Yeah, but aren't a lot of these events going to be in the States, they said?
They will, but maybe that's where they dominate. Maybe they tee off early and they start coverage at 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just don't think, I don't think that there's any real good success to be had if you go right up against the PGA Tour. I think a smart play, and I think we've talked about this before, would be an earlier week event. Monday night, whatever it may be.
Monday night would be cool.
Monday through Wednesday, like fill our week with golf. But what I'm saying is if it comes down to Sunday, if there's a PGA Tour event on where I know most of the names that I come to watch are going to be playing, that's what I'm tuned to.
You're probably right.
I'm not going to change the channel. I'm not going to change the channel for a purse.
Of course.
Maybe for a format, as you said. If it's an interesting team play format I want to see.
Because it's different.
Sure.
That's why we like the Ryder Cup, right? But you're right. I think if they try to touch a Sunday or a weekend, they're going to get blown out by football, by PGA Tour golf.
Right.
I think that it needs to be a weekday thing.
I haven't
Tuesday
heard
through Thursday.
Where it's even going to be broadcast, because you think about the PGA Tour is going to get Golf Channel. It's going to start on Golf Channel. That's going to move over to whatever, NBC or whatever.
Maybe a streaming service.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But let us know what you guys think. I mean, if these two came head to head, if you had an LIV, the as we're calling it informally, the Saudi Tour event, at the same time being broadcast somewhere, let's assume you could watch either one. They're both broadcast on some sort of channel that you could view. If it's there or the PGA Tour, which one are you watching? And is there something that would create you to watch one or the other? Is there something that would push you one way or the other?
Yeah.
Because I think what they originally were banking on were the names, and that's why they threw the biggest money at the biggest names.
Yep.
They wanted, they know that the remote kind of follows Bryson around, right? I mean, if Bryson was playing, people would tune in and probably watch it. But without names like Bryson, I just don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I think they're going to need big names.
I mean, Phil, yeah, sure, especially right now because everyone wants to see his next move after the big,
of course,
hang up. But when Phil goes and plays like a Champions Tour, I don't think the Champions Tour just skyrockets enough to compete directly with the PGA Tour broadcast.
Right. And time will tell, man. I don't know. I think they might be in trouble. They might be hurting for big names.
One thing that I will say, we'll leave it here because we're going to circle back to this in a little while.
Okay.
Maybe they have an unreleased wild card, and I'm thinking Anthony Kim.
Could be. And that's going to be a name that everyone's going to be waiting to see.
Right.
And we'll tell you why in a second. There it is.
Yeah. What if he shows up? Like, what if this happens?
And we'll tell you about his incredible insurance policy.
We're going to talk about that. But I think that if nothing else, that would be something that would make me tune in. I'd want to see where this guy is at.
Yeah, after 10
But
years.
I don't know if it's going to hold my attention week in and week out.
But it's only 8 events, so we'll see. It might bring people on for just these 8 events.
Right.
But again, we'll come back to that. And I didn't want to skip over this when we were talking Masters, by the way. I heard a rumor that Tiger might be at the Champions Dinner and potentially the par 3 tournament. I don't know if that's in his cards to play the par 3. I don't think he's ever really done that, or it's been a while. But we'll see.
I could see something like that, though. If he's not in form right now to be able to walk and do the full...
It'll be electric, that par 3 tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him doing something like that. But I saw also recent news. They had some leaks that come out from some people close to Tiger saying he really setting his sights on the 2023 Masters and that he's going to dominate, according to them.
It'd be great if he just spent a year in Augusta, lived there, just played it, just got really... He doesn't need to. He knows the course like better than anyone else. But
look at Tiger. I mean, all of us chomping at the bit to see him again. And there's Tiger playing the long game. He's like,
the long game.
Imagine that he's not even worried about this year. He's like, I'm winning next year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's wild.
I love it. Well, guys, don't forget, in 2 weeks, the Masters. We're going to have a fun episode. We're going to break out the green jackets, maybe some pimento cheese sandwiches. We're going to play a trivia game, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be Masters themed. So if you haven't subscribed to the show, wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you do it. You ready to talk Valspar?
I am, but let me say this first. Yeah. The podcast, it's been so much fun with the new format that we've done, and we've seen such tremendous growth, and we appreciate every one of you who've helped us to grow this show. And one thing we just a small ask, wherever you do watch or listen to the podcast, if you could provide some feedback, if it's on YouTube, smash that like button. If it's on Spotify, leave us a review, something like that just helps us to continue to grow the show, because that's the reason we get to do things exciting, like having Cam Smith on the show.
Yeah,
and we want to be able to really grow this and get more exciting guests and stuff on the show. And you guys are such big players in helping us do that. So one, I just want to say we appreciate it. And two is just ask that small favor that if you get any value out of the show, if you enjoy the show, help us grow it, share it with your friends, leave a review, smash that thumbs up. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Can't echo that anymore.
But yeah, let's talk Valspar here, Mike.
By the way, how about watching a PGA Tour event just weeks after playing it? It's one of the coolest things ever.
Talk about gaining perspective.
Yes.
I mean, as I've said here on the podcast so many times, it's one thing that we get to do as golfers that I feel like no other sport does, is that you do have the opportunity, although it's sometimes a difficult opportunity to make it happen, but sometimes it's an opportunity to play the same courses that where the pros play. It's not like I said before, it's not like we can walk into the Yankee Stadium, take some cuts at home plate.
Right.
But the perspective, I mean, we played the par 5, 607-yard uphill par 5 at Innisbrook at Copperhead. We played it just to get perspective, and it was a tremendously difficult hole.
Oh, yeah.
And now to watch these guys getting on that green in 2, I just literally, my brain was doing level, like this, man. Like the spinning numbers, like calculation, like how.
Exactly.
It seems impossible.
It does. And I mean, for us just to go push ourselves back to see what it was like. I mean, I'm glad we cleared the water. You guys will see it in an upcoming video, of course. But we cleared the water, and then you weren't even safe there. You had to go like 300 yards up a hill where you can't be left at all because you'll be blocked out. And then these guys are making it look so easy and getting on the green.
Speaking of making it look easy, Sam Burns plays that place like it's a video game.
He does. He just knows it. Loves the Valspar. Eats the Valspar.
I mean, there's we talk like a horse for the course, but hey, just to repeat is incredible. It's so difficult to do on the PGA Tour, but I mean, the way he plays that, I would watch pay-per-view just to watch Sam Burns play Innisbrook every week.
Exactly.
He should just play that every week. Charge us a small fee, like $7.95 a month. I'll just watch him play that because it's incredible what he does there.
It is. It reminds me of Tiger at Bay Hill, Tiger at Bridgestone, and I'm trying to think past like defending champs who repeat. It's very rare on the PGA Tour. So I looked. Victor Hovland did it at Mayakoba recently, 20 and 21. But it didn't happen again since JT in Malaysia, 2015 and 2016.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Tiger won the Farmers, get this 05, 06, 07, 08.
That was like
Tiger
don't prime.
Get in his way at Torrey Pines. And then I was like, how about Augusta? Because, we are Masters, getting close. In fact, there was 3 people who defended, obviously Tiger.
This could have been in our trivia.
Yeah, it might be. We're not creating the game, so it might show up. So learn, take notes. Tiger 0102, Faldo 89.90, and Jack did it 65.66.
Incredible.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm sure there was other people who've defended at U.S. Opens, but the venue changes, so it wasn't really appropriate for this. But for a straight venue guy, Sam Burns, their team just must salivate coming into Innisbrook. Now, like, we got this. The confidence level,
and one thing that
going forward.
I try to let some of the thought process of the best golfers sink in a little bit and like learn a little bit for me, like to try to play a little bit better myself. And one thing that I've heard now multiple people say on this show is that certain golf courses just suit their eye, right? So you think like when we had Bubba on the show and he was talking about with Kapalua, very comfortable there. But then I think it was the waste management. I think it was, he said there's certain lines that he needs to see the golf course. It doesn't suit his eye.
Yep.
And when we jumped to
Sawgrass, he didn't like.
Sawgrass, okay. And then when we jumped to our interview with what's his name? With my mom.
We got a blank here, guys. We've got a huge blank.
Cam Smith,
Cam Smith for sure. But I'm trying to think that we had another. We had another interview where a guy said the same thing. It'll come back to me. But
Now I'm
Cam
curious,
Smith
but go
even
ahead.
Said it.
Yeah.
He said the same thing. He said
About 18.
18 doesn't suit his eye. And then you think about how well these guys, sure, they can shape the shot however they want, but how they have a favorite because each one of them has a natural shot shape.
Yes.
And they say that course, the way that layout is, it doesn't work to my natural shot shape, right? So then these guys, they end up having to work against it. So I think what happens is sometimes you get a guy like Sam Burns that maybe it just so happens that a lot of the layouts of those particular holes that Larry Packard designed suits his shot shape, his style of play, that it's just like a match made in heaven and they just play well.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And
I'm trying to think, was it Austin? Was it
Russell
Cook?
Henley?
Maybe it was Russell Henley. Somebody else on the pod.
Austin
It'll come
Cook?
back to me.
Wow, you went Austin Cook. You went way back.
Way back. I'm playing, as we're talking, I'm playing over all the interviews in my head because I just remember a lot of players have said that, like, if a certain course just suits them or not. It's not like these guys just have that game that they feel like they can equally play every course.
Right.
That's why you see these kind of standouts where one guy wins a lot often, is they just find something that just it clicks with them.
Yeah. And
So it's just something for us to take away and just be like, yeah, maybe there are certain courses that we can play well and certain courses we don't play well.
I feel that in real life.
And it's
There
not
are
just
some-
a superstition. It's like
Right.
an actual,
Could that have been Rob LeBritz? I feel like he might have said something like
Maybe
that.
about TPC Tampa Bay.
it might have been LeBritz talking about Tampa Bay.
That guy, yeah, speaking of horse for the course.
Also, how many
free.
tomahawks do you think Sam Burns bought at Packard's after he won?
Yeah, right.
He just
Bought the
went
place
straight
out.
in
Yeah,
and
definitely
said,
rented
I
the
want
place
5 of those tomahawks.
They need to literally, and we got to get Bobby Barnes on the line here down at Innisbrook. And so you got to create a steak named the Sam Burns.
do.
My family, by the way, hates me because the new John Rahm in the house is Sam Burns. Like all weekend,
okay,
I'm
yeah.
screaming Sam Burns, you know. He's got those one syllable names that I just drive me insane. Speaking of family, by the way, none of my kids or anyone cared less of my storytelling during the event. Oh, Daddy put it in the bunker here. No one cared. I was like, see this? I went right over this. I almost made a no one. Nobody. It's just me. I was alone.
They don't
You know the
care.
feeling.
Well, I'll tell you what, it goes back to saying it is true. It is exciting when you get to watch an event.
It's great.
Where you got to play.
It is great.
For sure.
Were
But
you
speaking of which-
guys just on the phone with each other like, oh my God, can you believe that he just...
No, but you know what I did do? And I want to talk about this. I did message Frank and I said, how about this playoff? Starting him on 18, then going 16, 17 snake pit. I don't agree with it. I get it. The majority of the fans are on 18 right now because the tournament just wrapped. So let's just start it here. That's probably the reason. But I don't know, Bobby. Come on. You got to do snake pit 16 starting out.
I don't think Bobby has any say over
No, I
that.
don't think so either.
But no, I see what you're saying. Like, and we were talking about it. We were chatting about this on text of saying that it would be cool to see the playoffs start back at the snake pit again. But I think it literally is just
It's
a
just for the
logistical
fans.
thing. I think it's just that you don't want everyone is now left there and it's the final group. They've all moved to 18 to watch the final. To move everyone back to 16, I don't think it happens. I think
Right. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people did shift over there after the first playoff hole. I get that. And for those who did, they got to see the win. And how about this snake pit fun fact, ladies and gentlemen? Sam Burns played the snake pit at +1 on Sunday, just like you, my friend. He bogeyed 17. You parred. You got to give Sam some tips on 17.
I guess I have to.
How about the
Sam
tips as we
out.
played it,
Yeah,
30
right.
yards further up?
Yeah. Not only that, like we did not play the pro tees for the snake
And the
pit.
greens were down compared to this weekend, I'm
And
sure.
what was also down, which I can't imagine playing the snake pit in, was the wind that we saw.
The wind, yeah.
The wind, and it's the wind that drives you crazy and drives the caddies crazy because it was alternating, gusting. I can't imagine that was such a scary tee shot on 16.
Yeah.
I can't imagine playing that in those windy conditions that they were playing on the weekend. Forget it.
Oh,
I would have went +10 on the snake.
Oh
pit.
yeah, I mean it was good to see some guys struggle. DJ didn't play it so well. I think he shot +2 on Sunday, and it was just, it's cool. It's got to be cool for you. And I am giving a little bit away of our Copperhead video, but Frank did shoot +1 on those 3 holes. Did it real well. He bogeyed. What'd you bogey the first one?
I bogeyed 16.
The one that Sam won on with his awesome putt from off the green. So
The way that and that was the other thing too is, and you'll see how we struggled when our video comes out in 2 weeks for where we played Copperhead, where we struggled on those greens. These guys, there were certain spots I saw them struggling, and I'm like, I feel you, but they made it look easy.
they did, and JT did -3 on the snake pit all week. He made that course look easy. Another guy who was making par fives and going over the trees.
JT had it.
Yeah,
I thought coming down the stretch, I thought he had it.
he's knocking on the door.
He was
past two
in
tournaments.
first too. He moved his way up to first, but I still think that this ultimately all roads lead to JT. I still think winning the Masters.
I was just gonna say,
doubling down on it.
I'm gonna throw gasoline on your pick now. He is trending
He
hard
is trending
up a leaderboard, and Augusta could be his spot.
I think 100% could be his spot. But either way, it was an exciting event. That Snake Pit, it really does. It does come through. I'd love to see, more and more events that have those stretches of golf that, it really is. And where the spot where it is, the last 3 holes.
I love it.
I love it. It's just that it just keeps you watching because anything
It's on the list.
can happen.
Snake
Anything
Pit,
can happen.
Bear Trap, Amen Corner. It's up there.
Now this week we've got another big event. We've got a WGC event. We've got the match play. This is another smart marketing move as
Big
far
time.
as I'm concerned. Putting it up, a bracketed thing during March Madness.
Yeah, we're in the bracket feels time of year.
It's great. And
I remember this back in Phoenix one year when it was snowing out. Like, it's a cool event. It's over 5 days.
I love that course. That course is on my bucket list to want to play desperately is Austin.
I just saw our buddy Eric Anders Lang did a video there.
He did a break 90 video. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
didn't
Just
watch it
popped
yet.
up on my feed, but I want to get a chance to sit down and see that because
It looks tough.
it's a tough
And if
course.
the wind is up there too, it could be a really tough course. And what do you think of the format? You like this?
I've said this before. I think it's a perfect format match for
lot of
that golf course because there's so much risk reward. I'm thinking about that par 4 that if you want, you can try to drive it.
Yep.
Rory, I think, did over all the
Yep.
water because it's not stroke play and you're not worried about that. Like, depending on where you are in the match, these guys can adjust their strategies and play really aggressive.
Yeah, that's
play a
the cool
little more
part.
conservative. That is cool. And I love that it's a 5-day event. We get to see head-to-heads. I would love to see more match play, to be honest with you, on the schedule.
Yeah, I would too. I think it's cool. It reminds me of Ryder Cup. Billy Ho, I believe, was the winner last year. He loves this match play stuff.
Yeah.
Another guy to keep an eye out on is Hovland this week. And again,
And I would
JT.
watch Kisner, too.
Kisner
Kisner is another. He's a match play guy, and he's in form.
Yeah.
He's been playing well. And then the big name that everyone's going to wait to see how he plays, especially leading up to the Masters coming up, is Bryson's going to be back.
First
this
day
week.
back. First tournament back.
So
Yep.
he's playing Richard Bland from England. He's tees off against in Group 9 at 2:44 Eastern time on Wednesday.
That's cool. So Wednesday through Sunday. So it's bonus golf for us fans.
So as of when this podcast drops, we'll already be into the second day.
We'll be in the second day. And Bryson will be interesting to see. I'm curious. I'm going to make a prediction that if he's not feeling right and his game is completely out the window, you might see an early WD for that guy.
Yeah. Well, we already saw Cam Smith withdraw, which understandable after the whirlwind that he's had since winning the Players. But I love this. I love the match play. Getting back to your question, because I like the gamesmanship. You start to see guys giving each other putts and things like that, and the strategy
thumbs up, you're
behind
good.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, that type of stuff always excites me. I love to see, honestly, more of these types of events on the schedule. It would even if it was like just 4 or 5 of them throughout the season.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. Zurich doesn't really do it for me. The 2-man team.
I know. Some reason I don't ever really tune in much to the Zurich. It's just
Right. And I think there's also like a shootout in the fall with the team. Yeah.
QBE, I think, right?
So
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We want to get to our interview with Cam Smith. So
Yes.
let's do a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll hop right into that. All right, guys, when it comes to premium performance golf balls, the Pro V1 and Pro V1X have proven to be the best choice for most players. And you probably already know that Titleist offers another alternative in that same premium performance category, the Titleist Avx. Well, now there's an all-new AVX, which Mike has stacked up here for a reason.
here it comes.
Because we're going to be giving away a year's supply.
all 6
of the
dozen
new.
right here. It's heavy.
It is heavy. Don't lose those all at once there, Mike.
Right.
Stay tuned on the main channel. We're going to have all the information on how you can enter that. But guys, if you're looking for longer distance, especially with your irons, great scoring control to the greens, and prefer a softer feel, the AVX is for you. We recently tested them. Terrific feel. down there when we're in Florida. I prefer a softer golf ball, so I've really been loving what they've done with the AVX. It's designed with a new core formulation, a softer cast urethane elastomer cover system, and a new aerodynamic dimple design. All this technology adds up to longer distance, a low, more consistent flight, very low long game and iron spin, a softer feel, and even more greenside spin and control. Plus, it's available in white or that high optic yellow, which I like to mess around with a little bit, especially in the fall and early season. It's easier to see, but you can level up your game with the new Titleist Avx. Learn more at Titleist.com.
6 dozen. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's $300 worth of golf balls.
$300 value right there.
That's so cool.
Yep.
And I want to bring back the Premier Series. I know we've been talking Fuel from FootJoy. We've been talking about the Pro SL, but let's not forget about those gorgeous Premiers from FootJoy. It's actually the most common shoe on the PGA Tour by far. Guys like Cam Smith, who we're going to bring on the show shortly, JT, Homa, Horschel, Adam Scott, Webb, Poulter. We love the shoe. They're so classy looking. The collection has so many of the design and material characteristics one would expect with a classically styled shoe, from premium waterproof leather. I love that look, with the natural leather welts and the great detail that goes into them. And it exudes that craftsmanship, which makes it look like a really high quality shoe. I mean, it comes with amazing traction, great stability, lighter weight, modern twist to a classic silhouette is what makes the Premier Series collection so unique. Learn more about the Premier Series. Go check it out for yourself. You guys are going to love it. Go to footjoy.com.
All right, so we're going to take you over to our interview with Cam Smith. But, Mike, first tell the backstory on this, because you guys will notice that I'm absent from it. This kind of happened very last minute. Tell us about how it came together.
So this was an interesting one. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon last Wednesday, and we weren't in office that day. We were working remotely, you about 45 minutes away, and no way of you getting to HQ for this, just with your schedule going on. And I get the phone call from our buddy Justin over at Titleist. And Justin, we rarely talk on phone. It's emails, it's text. I get the phone call. I'm like, this is either something really great or it's something really bad. You know? So I'm hoping.
He's like, Mike, you lost more golf balls again?
Exactly. Right. So first thing he says to me, which was so great, he goes, Mike, I got something for you. It's good news. I was like, all right, what do we got? He goes, can you interview Cam Smith in 3 hours for 10 minutes? And I'm like, oh my God. So,
and even more backstory, we've been kind of delicately, gently leaning on them a little bit more to get some of these guys.
Yeah, politely.
We want the opportunity, as anyone would, to talk to these guys on the show. So we're like, any chance? So like, when the opportunity comes, as you say, we got to seize the moment. So go ahead.
Yeah, we got to seize it. And you're absolutely right, because who doesn't want the great, get of a high caliber guest on your podcast? You know, especially someone like Cam, who's fresh with the delay with Monday finish, it was 2 days off his victory. So I remember talking to the team at Titleist, and he said, hey, listen, guys, if you can't pull it off, he said, don't be upset. And I'm like, no, the problem is I want to do this. Yeah. So the problem is I'm trying to figure out how to make this happen. Sure enough, it wasn't terrible. Zach, our guy, was here in studio anyway working. I called him. I said, listen, I'm coming into the studio. Get ready. We're interviewing Cam Smith. Zach had after work plans, like with his dad. He had something going on. He's like, no, I'm canceling it. I had to rearrange daycare pickup. So we shifted. I had to call you, interrupt your day for you to help me get some things together. So the questions I put together, it all came with literally, but in getting here and making sure Skype worked was about an hour of prep time to put these together. Yeah. So we got it to work. The funny thing, bit of it. Yeah, it was great. I mean, you'll hear on it that Cam stuck to this 10 minutes. He was probably doing a lot of media.
Well, that's what these guys are on. They're on these media whirlwinds.
Yeah, and I get that.
They get literal blocks. They say, we can give you Cam for 15 minutes. We can give you Cam, whatever it is.
And the funny thing is we had Cam for exactly 10 minutes. And his agent was great on the beginning. He said, we got 10 minutes because we got to jump onto another commitment. I said, no problem. But it took about 3 to 4 minutes to get the audio working, because it was call in, dial in only. Yep. And so we ended up only getting 6 or 7 minutes to record because he stuck to it. And you'll see at the end of it where his agent comes in and cuts us right off. And it was perfectly cool. But
hey, you got all your questions in, including the one we all wanted to ask about the hair. So
I want to ask about the
I'll tell you what, let's take you right over to the interview now, and then we'll meet you back on the other side of the interview.
All right, I am excited to have the 2022 Players Champion on the line, Cam Smith. Cam, welcome to the Golf Podcast. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. You're breaking up a little bit.
All right. I'm going to try my best here. Hopefully we get through this. Well, first off, welcome to the show. Congratulations. I mean, the biggest win of your career. I mean, not only money-wise, the caliber of the event, the field, the conditions. I mean, I want to know right out of the gate, Cam, what has the last few days been like for you?
It's been pretty long. It's been pretty hectic. Given all the delays and just being in contention, I'm pretty tired at the moment. But it feels good to come out on top. It feels good to hit good shots under pressure, and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw how tough those conditions were, especially on Sunday. I mean, how were you able to stay dialed in? I mean, you shot a 71 that day, but then you go out, you fire 10 birdies in the final round en route to victory. I mean, how'd you find that groove? What was clicking?
On the range, I don't know what it was. On the range, I just felt really good with my irons. I felt like I didn't miss a shot, and I knew it was going to be a very scoreable afternoon. So I went out there with the mindset that I had to make birdies, and that's what I tried to do. I stayed aggressive the whole day, and yeah.
I mean, aggressive is the word. I mean, the shot on 17 in the final round to 4.5 feet. Amazing stuff. I got to ask you, for a guy like me, I never played TPC Sawgrass. What's a scarier tee shot, 17 or 18?
For me, it's 18. 18 doesn't really suit my eye at all. I like to, move my driver left to right if I can, and having to start it out over the water there with a few shot lead, didn't really make me happy. So just 18 for me has always been the toughest, shot on the whole course.
Yeah, and of course, it's a course you know well, being right there in your hometown. I heard you recently, you mentioned this in an episode you did on a YouTube video you did a house tour. You talked about the ultimate goal is usually to get to the Tour Championship, getting to East Lake, winning the FedEx Cup. Is that still the main focus for you, or with a big win like this, do you shift things and now you're thinking straight about Augusta? Do you change goals after a big win like this?
No, I think East Lake is still a really long way away. We're probably only halfway through the season now, so there's still plenty of events left. I've still got plenty of work to do to get there. So, I think really that's on everyone's list to be there, and to be in contention. I think for the FedEx Cup is everyone's ultimate goal. Yeah.
And I want to talk about equipment because it's a big show of trust how quickly you throw new equipment in the bag when it releases. I mean, this year specifically, those Vokey SM9s and even the ball. I know you play the 21 Pro V1X. I mean, how much does your ability to rely on that equipment come into play when you're faced with conditions like you did on Saturday with wind and cold weather?
Yeah, I've never been one to really shy away from new equipment. I trust the guys at Titleist are doing their job, and I trust that they're trying to bring out better equipment for us. So, I've always been one to put it straight in, and if there is something that needs to be tweaked or something that needs to be changed, change it while you're there and while you're hot on the golf course.
Yeah, I mean, recently we had Aaron Dill on the show, and we've seen him stamp things for a lot of guys, including yourself. Things like Man, the Myth, the Mullet. I mean, any new stampings or things we don't know about? Anything coming your way? Maybe a Players Championship themed set?
I haven't thought of any yet, but Aaron gets pretty creative. I'm sure we'll come up with one on the new set coming up.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm just staying on the fun side of things. I mean, the Players, we all know it was a record-setting purse this year, $3.6 million. I noticed on that same YouTube video, you like your toys, you like your race cars, you like the F1 simulator you're having now. Super cool stuff. With a win of this caliber, is there something on your mind that you're thinking about splurging on? Are you gonna get that Porsche GT3?
I might get that one.
There you go.
That might be it. I'm really content with where everything's at the moment.
Sure.
My mum's birthday's coming up, so I might surprise her with a new car.
There you go. That's more important.
Back in Australia, so that'll be my present for myself for her.
That would be great. And yeah, totally cool. The things you have, even that Audi is pretty sweet. I'm a big car guy, so I always love checking out that video. But Cam, we know you're limited on time today. So, before we let you get going, I put a question out to our audience, and I asked, we got, Cam coming on the show, and the question from the fans, are you going to keep that fan favorite hair and stash? I got to assume it's staying for the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, I think it's got to stay. I get so many reactions, I think, out on the golf course, so many fans from it, and, I'm playing really good golf as well, so it'd be, I think a lot of people would be devastated, including myself, if I got rid of it.
Yeah, we would all be devastated. I mean, it's one of our favorite looks out there, so definitely keep it. Definitely.
Okay, Mike.
Yep, stay hot.
You got to cut short.
Sure thing. Thanks, Cam. Appreciate the time. All righty.
Thank you.
Good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks,
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, I mean, there you go. Bud cut me off for a good reason, right? 10 minutes. But how cool was that to chat with him?
So cool. And something that I've seen so many people say in the comments and everything about how, as I said earlier, how humble and just chill of a guy he is. And it just really comes through there. You can just, if you're not rooting for this guy in some capacity, you're missing something.
Yeah, you are.
I think he's a good dude. He's got an incredible game, an incredible golf game that to watch, entertaining golf game to watch. He showed us that at the Players, and I think we're going to see some fireworks at Augusta in 2 weeks from him.
I think so.
Where we've seen him finish these last couple times, knocking on the door, it shows me Augusta's another place that he can play well. He's in form. If anybody's going to give my pick JT a run, I think it's going to be
I think so. It was cool. And I love the fact that he's going to get his mom the car. I mean, I love to hear that.
Yeah.
That's great.
And that's cool. And I had seen it was true. Like he hadn't seen his mother in like 2 years, right?
Yeah. With lockdowns and stuff like that.
Lockdowns and things like that. And that's why he ended up, as we said, pulling out of this week's event, after a whirlwind like that. Not only you win something, but you see something like this, like the media tour, the media blitz you go on, and finally getting to see his family and stuff like that. And it's just, I can't blame him for wanting to sit one out in between this crazy super schedule that we've got going
I don't blame him either. And I didn't get a chance to ask him about that caddy party, but I didn't have all my facts in time.
Yeah.
Again, it was a short prep.
We weren't able to verify, but we had heard that he had thrown a big, I guess it was like a pizza party for all the caddies.
He's just a cool guy.
Yeah.
So
you can tell that's the vibe around the tour. Is that he's just a good guy to be around.
Definitely. So big thanks to our friends at Titleist for setting that up, and for Cam and his team for giving us the time. It was great. We appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. All right, so we've got another fun hypothetical.
I'm loving these.
We love to ask you guys these things, and it's just something just gets the golf mind kind of turning.
All right, what do we got this week?
The question we had, and I was just kind of thinking of this when I was driving the other day, and I was thinking, kind of like walking that line between, what really is the most important thing when you're out there on the golf course. And I'm saying for us, not the guys who it's their career. I'm not worried about Cam Smith out there winning $3 million. I'm talking about for us. And I'm wondering, would you rather shoot your own personal best score playing alone, or shoot just your average score, but be out there having a great time with your crew? Like, the other thing is, we don't get a lot of opportunities to play with all of our friends. Everybody at this, stage of the game, we all have careers and everyone's busy. Mm-hmm. That's why it always stands out. Those couple of rounds we get to play, get out there with our friends, like the round we play with annually with Pete, Manhattan Wood, stuff like that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So the question is, which one, if you could only pick one, which one is it? Personal best playing alone, or just a fun, nothing to write home about score-wise, but just a fun round with the boys?
I think I go with the latter. I want to have fun with the boys and shoot my 85 rather than shoot a 78 and have no one to share it with, other than reassuring myself that my golf game is in check right now.
Right.
That's probably the best thing I'd get out of it. But again, this game is really, to me, about the experience of being with people out on the course, filming and traveling with you guys and taking all that in. I feel like doing it alone, any of this game alone, although it gives you a little bit of that self-satisfaction and reassurance maybe for your golf game, I don't think it's as enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I agree. The personal best, it definitely would be a huge confidence builder. Mm-hmm. But on the same token, like, hey, you really think about like the experience with your buddies. Like, you shoot your personal best by yourself, and none of them are going to believe you anyway.
Exactly. No one's going to believe you.
No one's going to believe you.
You know,
and that's why we got the Shot Scope watch, though. I can at least show you the stats.
It
really happened.
Show it. Right.
It really happened. I did.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Drop them in the comments. Let us know. Would you rather shoot your personal best playing alone, or just your average score, but having a really fun round, with your friends?
What about a hole-in-one by yourself? That's got to be rough.
I know. Everyone says that's the golfer's biggest nightmare.
I've done it in disc golf. I've had an ace.
That's right. You had an ace in disc golf.
All alone, and nobody believes me.
Yeah.
I don't even
nobody,
no one ends up
nobody
believing
believes
I don't believe
me,
you.
and I was so sad. I was so sad because it was like the one thing that I've been looking to do for my entire career playing.
This guy, he's just trying to get his disc golf vlogs and everything off the ground. Doesn't turn a camera on.
Come
makes
on,
an ace.
yeah.
First hole, right?
Yeah, it was the first hole.
You just go home after that.
The rest of the season is all downhill.
And
All right.
it was at Camp Gus, so there was a bunch of like people tubing next to.
So did
no one
anyone
saw it?
witness this?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bunch of like 4 and 5 year olds that were tubing, and I was like screaming. I'm like, did anybody see this? Did
Mom was
anybody?
that
And
weird
these
guy
kids are
over
looking
there.
at me like, my parents told me not to talk to strangers.
Right. Meanwhile, like, the kids are like, the
guy in
cops
the
are like, we're
woods
getting a lot of
screaming.
calls about this guy down
Screaming in the woods.
screaming in the woods about some disc.
Hasn't cut his hair in about 10 months.
But
I
yeah,
love it.
no, I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, as far as that personal best round, but for me, like a good fun, I have more memories. I tend to remember score so much less than I remember some of the fun things that were said and done out there when you're out of the
The
golf
one-liners,
course.
yeah.
It's just that's my own personal
One of my
thing.
funniest stories from us quitting with playing with Pete was when our caddy quit on the 13th hole for a
Yes.
dentist appointment.
That was great.
I mean, when does that happen? What do you give him, half a tip? Like, I don't remember what we did.
Honestly, bless this guy. One of the nicest souls, but
Beautiful
not.
soul.
I don't think this guy was a cat. This guy, there was nothing about this guy that was screaming. He shows up and he's smiling. He's having a good, and you just like he brought like a lot of good energy to the group in that way.
Uh-huh.
But he's just like he told us he has trouble seeing.
Which is the part that you don't want to hear.
And again, like I'm not laughing at his misfortune. I'm laughing at the fact that he could laugh at this. He was like, I have trouble reading the greens. He goes, ever since like he was going through cancer chemo treatment.
Right.
And there was something that was kind of like messing with him. But he said, don't worry, guys. I have a level. He brought a level out there to help him read the
He was
greens.
totally cheating on our behalf.
But I'm like, listen. If we're gonna let anything slide, it's that.
Yeah.
Well, you're a cancer survivor.
Right.
You use whatever you
Whatever
want.
you
I
need
don't
to do.
care if you need to bring a laser out here. Good for you that you're still out here doing it.
It's great.
But he said, I'm having trouble seeing. I can't read the greens. I've got a level. And then at the 13th hole, he said he had to leave to go to a dentist appointment.
It was one of our best caddy experiences ever.
But we got some of the greatest laughs. And I'm not saying at him, with him. The guy
Right.
was funny.
He was funny.
We were just having a good time out there.
And that was more important than the score.
That was it.
So there
and
you go.
And we still talk. I cannot remember what I shot that day, but I can still remember all that stuff we talked about when we were out
Exactly.
there. But anyway, speaking of which, I got a couple more things I wanted to mention here, and we want to get to that Anthony Kim thing. But kind of a post that resurfaced. Did you see this thing with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock? He posted this picture.
His infamous, yeah, look at that. So this is an old post. It's resurfaced again.
Yep.
Look at those arms. Like, that almost looks like the way I approach every drive, just gripping that club. And apparently,
he's
wait, put that
strangling
back up. He hit it 5.
He's saying he hit it
15.
490.
My drive was measured at 490 by scientists holding the rulers. But I don't know. I'm trying
he
to.
says
Everyone's
that-
calling BS on
He
it.
said the world record's 515. He said maybe I'll make that. Now, I think he was golfing in Hawaii, which interestingly enough, we have some stats here. Some of the longest drives have happened in Hawaii.
The century, a lot of 4 bills.
Yep.
Look at that. There you go.
Of the wind that's there. You look at this list. These are the longest drives on the PGA Tour. You see the century popping up quite a few times.
So there's Kapalua at least 5 or 6 times. And then you had Scott Stallings with the Waste Management at 460. Maybe it is possible for a human. I did see Scott's comment of cart paths help.
Path. So what you don't always see is the extra stuff that goes into it. Wind, cart path. So I'm looking at this, and I pulled up this article from the Golf Newsnet, and they talk about some of the longest drives on the PGA Tour, and some of these are just insane numbers. So first of all, these are not the same numbers you would see on like the long drive competitions where they're using different equipment, much
Right.
longer drivers. There's a flat.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? This could be anything could happen because it's the PGA Tour and they're playing all different events. It could be downhill. It could be a cart
Strong
path.
wind.
It could be a strong wind. So I'm looking at this one. It says another longest drive in PGA Tour history is credited to Mike Austin, 64 years old at the time, who hit a 515-yard drive on September 25th, 1974 at the National Seniors Open Championship. This is the precursor to the U.S. Senior Open. So first of all, 1974. Think about even the equipment that they were using.
Hickory.
So Austin hit his drive on a 450-yard par 4, which means he drove it. What is that?
65 yards
over the green.
Stop it. I can't.
Okay, right. Desert Rose Golf Club in Las Vegas. The club was at 2,000 feet above sea level.
Okay.
And the estimated wind on the hole that day was 35 miles an
All right,
hour.
now we're
helping
talking.
at his back.
Now we're talking.
So you're at 2,000 feet. You've got 35-mile-an-hour wind at your back. It's still a blast.
It's still a blast.
I mean, that's putting it into another
I think
zip
in those
code.
conditions, you and I struggle to get it past 415, 430. And let alone this guy's with hickory sticks back in the 70s, hitting at 515.
And now these are pre-shot link days, but then it's got some stats in here. And I don't know how updated this particular article is, but it says now you have the shot link days where now they're recorded by shot link. So they're actually measured by something. They're saying the longest drive in PGA Tour history, 2002, Tiger Woods. This is at the plantation course at Kapalua,
Of course.
right? Hawaii, 498 yard blast on the par 5 18th. Let's see. As it turns out, 11 longest drive in PGA. As it turns out, the 11 longest drives in PGA Tour history were hit on that hole, including 10 in 2022 edition of the then Mercedes Championship. So it's the hole. Obviously, that hole is dramatically downhill, right?
Right.
And you get in Hawaii, especially Kapalua, you get these winds that can, if it's just right, it's at your back. You know,
I'm watching it now. It's tough. I don't know. That's incredible.
So then you had,
But I believe it with the wind.
the longest 489 yard drive on the third day of the match play at the 2018 WC Dell was Dustin Johnson. But stats for match play event are unofficial and don't count towards historical rankings. Interesting.
Some of these are so wild. As I'm doing research, I got Carl Cooper hit at 787 yards on the listen on the third hole, round 2 of the 1992 Texas Open at Oak Hills Country Club. It almost went 800 yards, firm whack with some tarmac related fortune.
Tarmac.
So
Really.
he probably ran it on concrete for a while.
It's kind of like us saying
787.
it's like us saying Mike's drive on the 18th hole at the old course.
Yeah,
Recorded at 1 mile.
Yeah, right. 1 mile.
Because he hit it into the street in St. Andrews, and it could still be rolling.
It could be. Oh my God.
But yeah, so you got some
Incredible.
crazy numbers here. But yes, Scott Stallings this year, 460
That was recorded on
yards.
tour.
Pull that graphic back up for a second there, Zach. Is that all this year? Yeah, this is the 2021-2022 season. Yeah. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top, looks like 10, all happened at the Century when that wind was up. 2 of them were at the...
Look at Stewie Sink with the 4 bills at the old age.
Yeah.
Well, the young age, really.
But yeah,
Someone
I love
right
Scott's things. His car path helps.
Car paths help.
Incredible.
Good stuff.
All right, let's talk really quick about Anthony Kim, because the speculation, as we said at the top of the show, is about him possibly playing if he showed up. And again, this is pure speculation. But Mike, you were digging into this. Tell us a little bit of this backstory for anybody who's not.
I didn't even know the backstory. So I've seen, a lot of guys making jokes about Anthony Kim returning to tour, and I was like, all right, let me dive in to see what happened. So apparently the story is he got injured. He was really good. When he was 23, I think he won almost $5 million on tour that year. 3 PGA Tour events. They were calling him like the next Tiger. Like he had a real big future ahead of him. Hurt his Achilles tendon and had some type of insurance policy in place that if he did not strike another golf ball for the next 10 years on tour, at the end of it, he will earn a $10 million payout at a minimum. Some are saying it's more.
Okay.
A little less than 20. Now, obviously,
so you're thinking he's taking the guaranteed money,
and he's almost. I got to think he's almost done with the contract, right? I think he quit in 2012, so 2013. So he's at the end. So the speculation is he's almost done with his sentence, so to speak, and could join the Saudi tour for even more money. Cash in on insurance, do more.
Can you imagine?
I'm sure he's been playing golf. Like, you think he's a computer salesman now for 10
but
years?
Can he
What did
play
do?
golf, or is it like? Would he void his policy if he got caught?
So I've heard some things that he, at a certain point when he stopped playing, he just, like when he stopped playing on tour, he just completely
hung it up
playing.
completely.
He just hung it up. And then I guess he kind of got the bug again and started playing again. And recently, within the last couple of years, he's been in a couple like charity events.
That's probably the most he could do.
Yeah, but no competition or anything.
Nothing where he could win money, I guess.
Yeah. But I guess he is playing but I don't think he's at the level that he was.
So
I don't
we're going to
think
see if
it's
he makes a
possible.
return, and he's going to see if he's kept his game sharp for a decade at 33, 34 years old,
Yeah.
which is an older age on tour. But
Does he even need to keep his game sharp? You know what I mean? A lot of like the Saudi stuff was like guaranteed payout.
for the Saudis, I think he's going to be he could be a big name for that tour because of his backstory.
Right. It's just the pure curiosity of people wanting to
Exactly.
see him play again. People will tune in. So if it's for a spectacle,
Yeah.
yeah, because you've had his a couple of here and there like spottings, Anthony Kim. You know, it's very like Axl Rose circa like 1998 through 2004.
Will he be back?
When like no one knew where he was,
then he made his
spottings
appearance.
would make people crazy. You know what I
Right.
mean? I feel like it was the same thing with Anthony Kim. You get like a picture, somebody would take a random picture of him with him at an LA restaurant.
Yeah.
And he'd be decked out with like the sunglasses and stuff.
Right.
So it just added to this
I
legend.
love the speculation.
You know,
but speaking of speculation, back on guns, do you have a money figure of what Axel made to come back?
Oh, I don't know. It was I don't know the exact figure, but it was big money, those guys to play again.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because they sold out everything.
Yeah, of course. So something enticed.
There was big money.
Yeah.
And I think a little bit of the edges got a little rounded over the years of a little bit
things
less
out.
Yeah, a little bit less volatile as they were,
Right.
which I could do its own separate podcast on this.
I know you can.
I think that was part of the recipe of why that band was so incredible together, was that they also were like butting heads.
Yeah. Interesting.
I heard a story one time that Axel jumped out of a moving car to avoid a conversation that he was having with Slash. So if that tells you anything
believe
about
it.
where those boys were when they were younger, I
Yeah.
think age has made them a little bit more forgiving and able to work together.
I haven't jumped out of a moving car in a conversation with Frank on the way to a golf course
It's been a
yet.
while. It's been a bit. Oh,
Fallen out of a couple golf carts.
Falling out of some golf carts.
golf, that's a totally different story.
Yeah. Pinehurst number 3 was a whole different animal.
That's a whole different story. Anyway, guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe, because we're going to be back, of course, next week. We're here every week. But
Every
in
week.
2 weeks, we do have a big show planned for you. We're going to do a Masters edition.
I can't wait for that.
That's
going
going
to
to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. But like I said earlier, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you guys subscribe wherever you listen or watch the show, and leave us a review, leave us a thumbs up, share it with your buddies who, are into golf as well. Let's grow this show together, and it'll help us to bring even more of these names on there. And as you saw this week with Mike's incredible hustle, Mike and Zach working together to get that done with last minute notice of Cam Smith. We're going to do everything we can, because we really
do it for you
enjoy
guys.
it.
Yeah.
And we value it. We love it when we get a chance to get some of the big names on the show. So we're going to continue to work on that, but your support really does matter, really does help. So we appreciate every bit of it. You can get to the show notes this week by going to golficity.com/episode 420, and we'll see you again next week.